Hey, Mr. Five here. So, I am bringing you a new film called All Light Everywhere. This new documentary, which is actually an in-depth reporting on weapons company. And this weapons company that designs most of the tasers for law enforcement, most of the correctional weapons, most of the correctional data collection institutions. So the giant system and the government contracted company that is doing gang databases across the country, all of this sort of video interactions. Now, the craziest part about this documentary is that it's really based on the same company that makes body cameras. Right. So when you think about body cameras, you have to understand the concept that it is a weapon. It is not something that is used for police accountability. It is not something that is used to hopefully hold law enforcement accountable after an incident happens. It is not generally used for assertion of evidence for a case. No, it's not. It is a weapon used and designed to capture visual data. And so when you think about, I'm trying to adjust this microphone on. When you think about data and how it's visually captured, majority of the time, it is just lingering image data that the police are using as they're just patrolling every day, right? So, how many faces? We have 50,000 officers with body cameras. The question is, how many images do they capture a day? Where does those images go? What do they cycle and use for? And how is facial recognition going to be a database that they would continue to use to create, quote unquote, prevent crime? So this collection is not only using, but in New York, at the same time it was established as a law, preventive law, sad to say, was the same 5 years time frame in which they started collecting retinal ID. So when you are arrested now in New York and other states, they will scan your eyes. In other words, get the identification on your eyeballs. And that way the camera can pick up and identify you and match that retinal ID with the data that they have on log. So how is this detrimental in New York? If you're in a certain neighborhood and you're wearing a certain color, you're automatically labeled as a gang member, which then you put into the gang database. So AI and these computer systems are basically judging and categorizing people, and you could be placed on a list that can harm you later on. You could be placed on a list that could keep you out of public benefits just because you were caught on a cop's body cam and put into this, algorithm of a database, algorithm controlled database, right? So if you're from a certain area, wearing a certain color, you're now listed as a gang member. You can be restricted for health care and other benefits. It's an incredible system of control. Now, the crazy part is when you watch the interviews with the owner of the company and like the director of the corporation, like there's no regard for public safety. There's really no regard for public privacy. There's no regard for the First Amendment, and the 14th Amendment, sad to say. And this documentary film, which I'm going to be touring a lot and I'm creating a study guide for, is really an in-depth look at how this weapon is deemed a good thing. It almost reminds me of mapping out the human genome DNA, right? Which, of course, black people were needed for that. And then once you mapped out the human DNA pattern, law enforcement wanted to use that to incarcerate more people. So they started capturing everybody's DNA that's ever been in jail or been arrested. So that's another system of containment and data collection. Now, from that, the Innocence Project came out and said, you know what, we'll probably get more exonerations with this than we will convictions. And nationally, I think exonerations overturn convictions based on DNA evidence, right? So it has been used to criminalize. It has been used to bolster the prison industrial complex. And smart activists have used it to basically, destabilize the system and bring truth to where a mystery was involved with this case, or we didn't know, this person might have been innocent, yet there was this DNA sample of someone else that actually compounds the case, right? So all of these sort of incidences, like myself, I was exonerated through the Innocence Project, mostly because of DNA, but mostly because of DNA technicalities in the case. So the problem, I think, is that we look at it as a tool. Immediately something happens with police officers, you want to see the body camera, but nothing happens. It's thousands. A friend of mine, Jose LaSalle, has Cop Watch. His networks has thousands and thousands and thousands of videos of police abuse and horrific actions with NYPD. None of that's held accountable. None of that makes a difference. We got videos of them jumping out on people, beating up young people, harassing kids. None of that is used as evidence in the case for freeing those people, more or less evidence of police abuse, right? So this camera system is more so as a weapon than it is a tool. And the few cases that we do get it, it's edited, it's used as a screening process before they write their ticket. So like, before I say I'm accountable for this charge, let me look at this and review this and edit this film so they could work on my side. So it's a tool for law enforcement to actually evade charges more so than it is to hold them accountable. And that's the crazy part. So I'm bringing you All Things Everywhere. It's an amazing documentary. Please watch it. Let's have a conversation afterward in the comments, man. Let's go.
I am an actor who will give voice to the hole at the center of this film. Because every film is, in part, an autobiography. Because every image has a frame. And every frame excludes a world beyond its edges. And yet, when we understand something, we still say, I see.
Let's roll sound, roll camera.
Hi everyone, thank you for coming to participate in our research study.
Hi.
We're a neuroscience research company interested primarily in how people respond to media content. To get you set up, we have a bunch of different instruments that we use to measure those responses. As you watch the content, there are sensors, so whether it's exciting or amusing, any of that response will be able to pick up these sensors. Keep pushing them back. Are you sitting okay? That's it. Perfect. That's it. Feels good. Wonderful. Then if you could just face me So we're going to do part response. So if you can just close your eyes. Yeah. Close your eyes. Open your eyes. Close your eyes. Close. Close. Relax. Close. Open your eyes.
Here we go. Oh, you want me to stop here?
Maybe like stop right here and say, hey, like welcome, like
Oh, you want to do the welcome there? Okay.
yeah.
Can you actually stop further back so like basically there's not as much sun?
Okay, that's good. Like
How's
stop.
about, okay, you tell me.
Yeah, so maybe like come up like right here. It'll open right here, right?
Yep.
Okay, great. Like if it opens right here because you're in the shadow, and we can just keep the exposure the same right here.
Sure.
And then you go and then turn and then do the eye scan and we'll follow you from there.
You got it. Come on in.
Thank you. You have been identified.
Welcome to Axon headquarters and manufacturing. Today, we're going to take a look at some of our amazing Axon and Taser products, and we're going to take a quick tour of our building. This is the IT area for the entire company. More conference rooms. Over here, we've got the accounting side and the financial side for the office. So each area has its own designated department. As you can see here, we're on one of our first catwalks. We try to do this like Star Wars, like Star Trek, give this a real high-tech feel. If you look around here, there are no secrets here. I mean, look at the entire C-suite is open. I can look right down on what the C-suite's doing here. You know what's going on. And so transparency is really good for another thing called candor. We expect candor here at this building with positive intent, and when you know what's going on, it just feels really good when you get that candor because you do assume the positive intent and it makes the company better. We'll work our way up to the third floor, and before I do that, I want to flash over here. There's a black box. That's what we call it. And the black box is a colloquial term for R&D, the research and development. They are in a black box because we don't want them showing their wares of what they're working on. So we want them to stay kind of hidden. At the same time, they're looking at us, and it's sort of like a car with a tinted window. They can see us, but we really can't see them too well. That really gives that feel of they're working on something really unique, powerful, and not to be shed to the public just yet. So that's the black box. And everybody says they work in a black box. Well, we put them in a real black box, and that's pretty cool, I think.
1874. The world prepares for the astronomical event of the century, the transit of Venus. A few times every century, the orbit of Venus crosses the face of the sun. By measuring the time it takes for Venus to make this journey, astronomers can establish the distance the planet has traveled. By comparing transit times from different vantage points, the distance between the Earth and the Sun can be calculated through triangulation. This process is called the solar parallax, and these calculations are still foundational for both astronomical maps of the universe and navigational maps here on Earth. Any measurement is only as accurate as the measuring instrument. Prior to 1874, astronomers had to rely on highly trained specialists for their observations. These specialists activated a timekeeping device once the transit began and stopped the device to mark its end. But every observer had different reflexes, resulting in different times, and thus different calculations. Another obstacle stood in the way of accurate observation. As Venus approached the border of the Sun, the planet appeared to liquefy, a phenomenon caused by distortions in the planet's atmosphere, as well as the lens of the telescope. Astronomers called this phenomenon the black drop effect. The act of observation obscures the observation. Where the world meets the image of the world, the image falls apart. To scientists, the transit provided a unique opportunity for technology to overcome the limitations of the imperfect human observer. But not everyone was convinced of their success. The philosopher Henri Bergson, writing on the transit, said that any attempt to record a true measurement was doomed to failure. Venus, as it appeared to the scientist, did not reflect the true nature of Venus, but merely the limitations of human observation. He writes, "There is no form, since form is immobile and reality is movement. What is real is the continual change of form. Form is only a snapshot view of transition."
We'll talk at the break, so. Thanks, Alex.
Yep, you got it. All right, good morning. I see a lot of familiar faces. It's exciting, especially this little guy over here. I'm Sergeant Robert Corso. I do the body camera training. Before we get going today, it's a special day. We've got obviously a couple cameras besides the body-worn cameras in the room. So we're going to go over 3 different things when we talk about the body-worn cameras today. The first block is going to be about the actual operation of the camera, how this thing functions, how it works, how you'll use it. The next thing we're going to go over is going to be about the website, how you're going to access it, how you're going to search for videos, find videos, playback videos, things like that. And the last part of the day, we're going to talk about policy. And that's it. At the end, you'll get your camera, you'll get your phone, you'll learn how to pair them together. You take a test video, we'll all do it together, learn how to upload it, and if you haven't already, we'll even get you registered for the website, and you'll be good to go. All right, any questions before we get started?
We're about to go into our production facility on the 3rd floor of Axon. And right now, before we go in there, you're actually in the viewing room because sometimes we don't want people to get full access to that. So now, what I can do is show you the viewing room aspect of it in terms of turning it on and off. this is where all the activity really is taking place. It's the nuts and bolts of our company right here, where we actually hand make our Axon body cameras and also our taser weapons and some of the accessories that go with it. So everything is made here that you wear on the body. So we're going to take a look first at our Axon body cameras. We'll take a gander here. This is where we make the Axon body too. Now what's different about this is that the lens is incorporated in the actual controller aspect of it, meaning that I can wear this now and record from my chest using a magnet mount anywhere in my body. Truly a body camera where you mount it to your body. So here, we make sure that the camera itself is focusing properly. This is where we do a lens check, processing quality assurance along the way. We need to make sure that it can contrast, see in the dark, and mimic the human eye. This is a very unique camera lens in that we don't want to not mimic the eye because we don't want to be able to see in the dark. Humans can't see in the dark. So if we had an incident in which someone maybe drew what looked like a firearm down a hallway, we don't want the infrared to show that it wasn't a gun or was a gun because the officer doesn't see an infrared. That could jade a jury. We want it to mimic what the human eye can see. If you go beyond that, now you're going to see things that maybe a jury would say, well, the video saw that this was a squirt gun, not a real gun, but the officer can't see that. You want to see what he saw. So we saw some camera companies in the very early stages that were competing with us using infrared. Big mistake. They don't do that because you can't go into court like that because it doesn't mimic the human eye.
So there's certain things you don't want to see.
There are things you want to see just like the officer sees from the officer's perspective. When it comes to court cases, what the officer's perspective is key. And that's always been the case. So you don't want to give them something that's beyond their perspective.
These photos, from a collection titled Photographic Atlas of the Sun, do not credit any human photographer. The sun itself is credited with their creation. The man who assembled these authorless images was the astronomer Jules Janssen. In 1871, with the world preparing for the transit of Venus, Jules Janssen unveiled a new invention that he hoped would address the issues facing accurate measurement of the solar parallax. Janssen called his invention the photographic revolver. The design of Janssen's revolver was partly inspired by the Gatling gun, a semi-automatic machine gun that was first introduced on the battlefields of the American Civil War. The gun's inventor, Dr. Samuel Gatling, dreamt his gun would drastically reduce the bloodshed of war. By replacing human soldiers with automatic machines, he thought, fewer soldiers would be needed to fight. Janssen's revolver applied automation to observation. The operator loads the camera with a circular plate of film. When activated, the plate is exposed at regular intervals. The human operator is removed from the act of observation. There are no original plates of the 1874 transit lift in existence. This sequence, made by Janssen using a miniature model of Venus and the Sun, was filmed over 20 years before the Lumiere brothers would release their own version of the movie camera. Many consider this sequence to be the first movie ever made. By the time of the transit, 62 parties from 10 countries had set out with their own competing instruments, each vying to become the first country to calculate the solar parallax. It was the largest scientific expedition of modern times. But every single trip, including Janssen's, was an absolute failure. Each instrument had produced its own incompatible data. Every nation had come up with their own solar parallax. Astronomers were disappointed. The military was not. Techniques of long-range targeting pioneered by Janssen were quickly adapted for the development of new ballistic technology. Janssen writes, "New infantry and especially artillery weapons can reach the enemy in places where he is sometimes barely visible. A cartridge of film is loaded. The shutter is triggered. The flash fires. The camera shoots. An image is captured. A common language endures."
Let me see if I can find somebody. This is our program we call iView. It's very similar to Google Earth, only it's live with TiVo. Anywhere within it, the images are updated every second. We record large areas of troubled cities that allows us to go back in time, and we provide an unbiased witness as to what actually happened on the ground at those locations. We take 12 cameras at once. Our objective is to make it look like one seamless image so you can't see the cameras. But, you know, it's a hard process to do. Here you can see we can actually follow this bus. So here we can go forward in time. Here we can go backwards in time. And you can see that the analyst, they could go to the scene of a crime and follow these vehicles from the crime scenes. This is what a person looks like right here. That little dot there crossing the sidewalk is a person. And we can't tell who they are, what color they are. The only reason we know they're not a bush is they're walking along the sidewalk. The only reason we know they're not a dog is they tend to get into a car and drive.
All right, so let's talk about operation of the camera, how this thing works, how it functions, how you're going to physically use it, activate it, deactivate it. When mounting the camera to your body, it's important to just be guided by some general rules, okay? Maximize the camera coverage. In other words, wherever you're mounting this thing to your body, the overall goal is to be capturing whatever you would normally see, sitting or standing, facing forward, right? Whatever you would normally see sitting or standing, facing forward, that's the goal to be captured with your camera. The purpose of this program, the purpose of the body camera program, is to record our interactions with the public when it needs to be, right? How about this? I'll give you an example. Maybe you're in a room of the house and you found some evidence. It's under the sofa, right? Where is this camera looking? It's not looking under the sofa. It's looking at the wall. Keep that in mind. You want to document and record the fact that you have now found and are recovering that evidence. And this is one of your best friends to do that. But if it doesn't see it, it's not helping you. Just remember, your camera, your mount, or your hand, and never anywhere else. The only time this should ever leave your physical contact is when it goes on the dock or on your charger at home if you take it home, right? This is what is this called? What is this called? Body camera, right? It's in the title. Should be on your body, touching your body at all times.
The body camera operator both uses and is part of the camera. Most of the time, the camera operator's body isn't seen. The camera moves, but we rarely see who moves it.
I like these ones down here.
When the operator speaks, it narrates the image like a voiceover. The Axon body camera's recommended placement is centered on the chest. It does not capture the direct field of view of the operator, but from a slight parallax. The operator is not seeing for themselves, but as an extension of the state. The wide angle of the lens is meant to capture as much of the surrounding environment as possible. But the wide angle also exaggerates motion. Subjects appear closer than they are, their movements more severe. Time, date, and file name are imprinted in the upper right corner. An Axon logo brands the video. Axon is the literal frame through which an event is seen. These elements are used to prove that the image was captured at a certain place, at a certain time, and according to a set of standard protocols. These protocols allow the image to be admitted into court as evidence. A neutral witness, free from the imperfections and bias of human memory. But a blind spot is exploited. The frame of the body camera erases the officer from its view. A viewer is placed in the body of the officer, watching what happened to them and not what they did. The courts view this image as an objective witness, but the camera is designed to limit what can be seen by this witness. There's always a body behind the body camera.
Again, you'll see all of our core values here. Win right, own it, be obsessed. Big one for us on the passion side. Aiming far, we're not going to shoot for the moon, we're going to shoot for Pluto here. If you own it, you don't want to be singular, you also want to join forces. So it's kind of a diametrically opposed, but not diametrically opposed situation. And the last one is expect candor with a positive intent. We speak pretty frank here at Taser. We're going to take a look at the X2 line for our Taser smart weapons. A smart weapon is an electronic control device. It's a device that's going to use electricity to incapacitate a violent or dangerous person. We make that weapon here, and it's really important to understand that quality is really important on this side of the line because an officer's life may depend on it, and conversely, a suspect's life may depend on it working properly because if it doesn't work, an officer may have to go to a higher level of force, and that's not good for the suspect, and certainly that's not what the officer wants to do. So let's take a look at how they're made. Oh, just filming right now. The final scan is done here. It's been used many times, put into stress. It goes in here for final kitting, and off this goes in a box and goes off to a law enforcement agencies to hopefully save someone's life. Just being aimed at a suspect is our #1 use of force. It makes you think, I'm on the business end of whatever that is, and if it's a taser weapon, I really don't want to be shocked by that device. So to me, it gives that standoff, and you get good verbal commands of, I'm gonna use a taser, and you put your hands down, and all of a sudden they see that. That's a great visual cue that something bad about is going to happen to you.
Do you think the Axon body cameras have the same effect?
Oh, by far and away, the cameras are having the same effect. Look at the effect it's having on me right now. I dressed up. I'm more professional. I'm not cursing right now. Why? I'm being professional. I know I'm being recorded. Your cameraman is being very professional too. Why? He's recording me. We both have jobs to do. The officer has a job to do. He wants to be professional. So at the end of the day, the cameras are changing behavior just like the weapons, when they're aimed, can change behavior in a very positive manner.
No photos of the 1874 transit are left in existence. But this strange portrait of a smoking Jules Janssen survives. This portrait was taken by Etienne Jules Marais, a French scientist and pioneer of early photography. Marais invented a new camera that improved and miniaturized Janssen's design. He called his invention the photographic rifle. It was the first portable movie camera. With his rifle, Marais turned his gaze from the stars to life on Earth. In the studio, Marais performed a series of experiments that studied the mechanics of motion. To Marais, these cameras were not just a better eye, but an entirely new sensory organ, capable of revealing the invisible patterns of the world. He writes, "Not only are these instruments sometimes destined to replace the observer, but they also have their own domain where nothing can replace them. When the eye ceases to see, the ear to hear, the touch to feel, or indeed when our senses give deceptive appearances, these instruments are like new senses of astonishing precision. Our senses may lie to us, machines cannot." Marais went beyond simply photographing motion. When motion was captured, it was automatically converted into data. Seeing and interpretation were combined in the same device. Before these machines, the world becomes a resource for the extraction of data. They see, they measure, they compute. As a scientist, Murray hoped to uncover the natural order of the world. But his methods actively concealed the unnatural conditions of this process. These instruments do not reproduce the world. They produce new worlds. His subjects were not in nature, but in the controlled setting of the studio. What would these images be without this theatrical set? Without these specialized instruments? What do these lines represent but the restrictions of the subject's movement? Who gets to frame another as subject? These motion studies, taken in Senegal under French colonial rule, tie Murray's work with another project of resource extraction and exploitation. In one sequence, a group of children walk past Murray's camera. They pause for a moment, staring straight into the lens. Perhaps they stare at the man behind the camera.
Let's see. All right, there it is. All right, cool. All right, so let's. I'll just give this to you, I guess, and then you can bring it over there, and.
Ed is wearing an Axon Body 2 camera. He's also wearing a Taser X2. That X2 has Axon signal technology that will turn that camera on as soon as he turns the safety on. Right now that subject is convulsing. He went through a 5-second discharge from a Taser X2. That hit all these core muscles here. He split the belt line, which is key. This person would have been very disconcerted at a minimum, and he would have been not able to do any controlled movements. He would have fallen down on the ground. I didn't get here in time, so go ahead and engage him one more time. He has the ability to re-engage this since this person's still plugged in. On that second application, he's complied. We can now say that this person is completely controlled. I can now remove the probes. So I simply take out the probes, and you can take a look at one of these probes, look like up close. What we need that probe to do is either stick to clothing or skin. We need both of them on there to complete that circuit. If you take a look down at the ground, you'll also see that it's also displaced or dispersed multiple pieces of confetti called anti-felon identification confetti. And it has serialized confetti that will match back to that specific cartridge right there that Ed just fired. We can now upload that camera evidence up to evidence.com to see what exactly happened from his perspective.
Okay, and freeze, I'm going to track out for a second. Give us more tail at the end. And pause. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, cut.
Okay, so the video that you recorded has been uploaded to evidence.com. Now we'll go ahead to our player screen and press play.
The camera records an image of an event, but the image does not speak for itself. To be considered in a court of law, any piece of evidence must be both authentic and relevant to the case. When admitting evidence, any lawyer must establish that these requirements are met. Axon software automates much of this process. When an officer docks their camera at the end of a shift, the image is automatically saved and uploaded to evidence.com. Date, time, and device number are saved alongside the video file. The metadata proves that the camera was actually there at the event in question. Every time a clip is opened, shared, or modified in any way, the software generates a note alongside the video file indicating who accessed the video, when they did, and what they did with it. This audit trail is presented in court as proof that the evidence has not been tampered with. But the body camera footage serves another purpose, as a memory aid for the officer. After a use of force incident, most police departments in the United States allow officers to review footage before making a sworn statement. An opportunity arises. After watching the video, the officer may align their statement with available video evidence. These tools do not reproduce an event. They produce a narrative of events that can be used to retroactively justify a use of force.
And what's the next step for this software? Like where?
Oh, it's all AI. Yeah. This software is going to learn, and it's going to go ahead and automate a lot of what takes us, some manual labor today.
Photography has been used by the justice system since the 1840s to document detained people. But photographs without a classification system were useless for police departments. A young police department administrator, Alphonse Bertillon, wrote a letter to the Paris police daily describing the problem. If an individual already condemned under the name of Pierre claims that his name is Paul and that it's his first offense, how can one even suspect a lie? How can one prove it? In 1879, Bertillon introduced a system where, upon arrest, a person would be photographed and subjected to a series of 11 measurements. These measurements were written onto index cards alongside their portrait. Bertillon called his images talking portraits. If the image cannot speak for itself, Bertillon hoped that the measurements could. Bertillon wrote a manual that standardized the methods for taking these measurements. The diagrams depict a delicate choreography between police officer, detained person, and scientific instrument. Everyone is well dressed, fully compliant. In some, there is the faint trace of a smile. In one example, Bertillon poses as a criminal subject within his own system. His image takes up relatively little space on the card. Within Bertillon's system, a person's data supersedes their image. The human body is fractured into an array of features. Data is extracted and organized. A new human subject is assembled, one that's legible as a criminal to the state. Bertillon writes, in a word, to fix the human personality, to give each human being an identity, an individuality, certain, durable, invariable, always recognizable, and always capable of being proven. Police departments worldwide adopted his methods. Bertillon himself toured the world giving courses in ocular education. On entering one of his classrooms, it was said that students were met with a large poster displaying one of Bertillon's favorite sayings. The eye only sees in each thing that for which it looks, and it only looks for that of which it already has an idea.
The camera that we have, the Axon Body 2, it's the second generation camera designed by Axon. Features include a lens, right? All cameras do, it's how they record video. This camera in particular records in HD, 142-degree viewing angle. So if I were to wear this camera up here and stand right here at the front of the class, I would definitely see all of you guys, no problem. Does a good job of capturing a wide angle without distorting the video. Microphone, it's how it records audio. Simple enough. Standby switch at the top. This is important. Think of the standby switch like a light switch. When it's off, and you don't see that red sticker, it's off. All the way off. When it's on, and you do see a red sticker, there are two different operating modes. All right, there's standby mode, which you'll be in most of the time, and then there's recording mode. When you are in standby mode and you have not activated this camera to take a recording, technically it's always recording, but only video, no sound. Now, the only time it's going to save that information is if you hit the button to take a video yourself, manually. Once you activate this to take a recording, that 30 seconds that it's always been saving will automatically be added to the beginning of your video for you. And I'm going to show you why. 30 seconds is a long time. We're going to go 30 seconds right now. You ready? Everyone be quiet. Not even halfway there. "30 seconds. That was 30 seconds. A lot can happen in 30 seconds. A lot. And it does. But think about it this way. Once it happens, having the ability to essentially go back and grab that information simply by hitting the button on your camera because of something sudden that happened that you didn't know. You know, you didn't know in advance that a crime was going to take place or that somebody was going to assault you or something like that. Being able to go back and essentially grab that last 30 seconds, that's huge. It's big for us. As you can see here, huge. So, imagine if we did not have that feature. Imagine if the video started when you pressed the button on the camera, right? Still, we would have video. It wouldn't be nearly as helpful, though, as the video we have. See from here, if it started where you pressed the button and didn't have that buffer, this is why that buffer is a huge feature for us. That's huge. Watch what you would see.
4931, shots fired, shots fired!
Okay, so we see a suspect, we see a weapon, right? We don't get to see him running through the neighborhood. We don't get to see him carrying the gun. We definitely don't get to see him turn around and point it at the police officer. not nearly as helpful as having that 30-second buffer. Still better than no video. It definitely adds a layer of evidence to our cases, but not nearly as helpful as having that 30-second buffer.
I think that's good. Let's see what it looks like in a take, and then we can make an adjustment.
We'll do the actual layers. So the shot is that if you very tight on your face, we'll zoom out while you're watching the footage, just like very neutral, just like you're watching, and we pan over, and all this stuff is floating, and it's just gonna start, and that's you're just watching. You don't even see this. You don't see the entire film crew right here. It's just yeah.
All right, let's reset to 1. Let's have the string pullers standing by.
The analyst will go in and actually track the car second by second. And it's a little bit like a video game where you click on the car as if you're, I don't want to say shooting at it because that gives you the wrong indication, but I think this is just an interesting way of looking at it. I think it's more of the God's eye view, in essence, where you're getting an opportunity to look down on huge areas of a city. We can't reach out and touch anybody, but we can see what occurred on the city streets.
Do you think this is what God sees?
I believe God sees everything, and that he not only sees where you are, but also what you're doing and what you're thinking. And we see very, very small parts of what I believe God sees.
And this is going forward in time?
Yes.
Can we have it go backwards in time as we zoom out?
I can do that.
I guess we can manage just reverse the page.
Well, I mean, it's one keystroke for me. Backwards in time, huh?
In 1908, a photograph captures an airborne view of Kronberg, Germany. The wings of a pigeon poke in from beyond the frame. Another photo in the series captures a man, Dr. Julius Neubronner, on a roof with his assistant. Neubronner was the son of a pharmacist. His father had trained pigeons to fly prescriptions to distant patients. The younger Neubronner engineered a different payload, a lightweight camera containing an automated shutter mechanism. A released pigeon will always fly straight back to its roost. Attached to the pigeon's chest, Neubrunner's camera created a photographic record of their flight. The pigeon is both part of and operator of the camera. The human gaze is outsourced to another living species, providing unmanned aerial surveillance of the world below. Neubrunner's invention did not escape the attention of the German military. Balloons were too slow and obvious for aerial surveillance. Early planes were too loud. Pigeons represented a silent, nearly invisible means of gaining valuable information by air. As Europe marched towards war, the birds were trained for combat. But the pigeons did not make good soldiers. Because pigeons will only fly in straight lines, the pigeons had to be released deep within enemy territory, something that was nearly impossible during the bloody trench warfare of World War I. These borders present no such obstacle for today's combat drones. In Neubrunner's diary, we encounter a dream. A dream last night where I was flying over Kronberg. At some point in my journey, I looked down to see a man on top of a roof. On closer inspection, I saw that it was not a man, but one of my pigeons. A great vertigo overcame me. I didn't know who was flying and who was standing still. I realized that we must be orbiting each other, tethered by the mutual gravity of our gaze.
All right, guys, let's keep it rolling with policy. So let's talk about the purpose of the body camera program. There are four main points. Professionalism, transparency, evidence collection, and accountability, right? When they talk about professionalism, what do they mean? It means the cameras are going to document all of our actions, right? Actions can be reviewed by supervisors. They can be reviewed by internal. Listen up, guys. The point is to ensure that everyone is acting in a professional manner, as always. Accountability. Definitely for us, we wear the camera, right? Everything we do is on camera. Everyone's actions are caught on camera, though. So not only is it accountability for us, but it's accountability for those that we deal with. Right? Definitely. I'm going to show you guys an example of that. Yeah. I'm going to pause.
You good?
Good to go.
Keeping the camera in the back for this? Just
Yeah,
keep the
absolutely.
camera. And you all can cut off the audio for me.
Yeah.
Yep. Like you can turn them off all the way.
Turn all the audio.
Or just turn the lights off. Yeah. You're still recording.
Oh.
Thank you.
Yeah.
We're good, Sarge.
All right.
IEDs will be watching this.
We show a lot of things, and the IED has watched this video.
I hope they watch
This individual, after his arrest, well, first let's back up. What do we have here? We got a foot pursuit, right?
Yeah.
And what happens at the end of foot pursuit? Who was watching? What happened to this? What happened to this gentleman at the end of foot pursuit?
Let me tell you what happened to him. No, I didn't like the fact that the way he was pulling something out from his waistband, and he knew it was just his phone.
Yeah.
Right, yeah,
He's
you
doing
know
all
what I'm
kinds of stuff.
Yes.
He's reaching all
That-
over the place.
yeah.
But even before all that, what happened? What happened right here?
It looked like he hit something.
He fe-
Or reaching for something.
He's tripping. He's falling right now. His legs are giving out on him.
Oh, he's
As long as they're giving up.
His legs are giving up. Yeah, he thought he was going to bob and weave between some parked cars, and you know, it didn't work out.
He's hitting the cell phone now so he can manipulate the situation. He probably
Right, that's
trying
what
to record and say the officer. That's what he's gonna do.
Yeah.
But that could have been sticky though, because it looked like you're reaching for something.
Yeah,
We don't know what you're
they
reaching
keep their
for.
guns under the wheelbarrow.
Right.
So he could have just had a gun sitting there anyhow. I've seen it.
Right. So, his legs give out. He runs into the back of the pickup truck. He falls down, and he immediately starts yelling, "What?
You hit me.
They hit me!
He said my arm. Record him, he said.
Record."
Drop something on
Who's he saying record to us?
That's
No,
homeboy.
it's homeboy.
Say you got the drug as well.
Other citizens. That didn't know we dropped the drugs on Lucas.
So was there any unreasonable force used there? Was there really any force used there at all? No. And this video immediately exonerated those officers. You know, no wrongdoing. It was very apparent. Show what actions each side takes. That includes us and them. Everyone else that we deal with. Anyone who's not the police wearing the camera, it shows what actions they took, and then it shows subsequently what action we took in response to it. So, cameras don't take sides. Just remember that. They're the all-seeing eye. They're just going to remember whatever they see, and they're going to play it back for everyone else to see, right?
You hear that sound? That's the sound of a business. That's the sound of success. That's the sound of an economy. And I don't think you'll quite realize the economic engine companies like this make for the success of a country. All these pieces of equipment, you're not going to find this anywhere else in the world. This is it. No one else makes this all put together like this. You just feel the ticking sound of production. And that's being taxed. That's paying for tanks. It's paying for Social Security. It's paying for everything here. Even this piece of Mylar is taxed. The smallest little thing here, from the wire to the tools, all this is part of this economic engine here. And to see a piece of equipment in the airport, an officer's belt, from the camera to the weapon, you know where it came from. You know someone like her made it. And that's pretty exciting here for me. I love this sound. That's an amazing sound to me. It really is.
We don't want integration. What? We want the fair empowerment. So when you leave here with your documentary, right? And your story,
this isn't a documentary.
Whatever it is.
This isn't.
Whatever it is, sir. And they're filming without permission. I think they ought to say, brother, you on, you hot. You know what I'm saying? That means the light is on, we're recording you without your permission. And if you are going to print it without my permission and my signed affidavit, I will sue you as I sue the University of Maryland Medical System and shut them down.
Gotcha.
That's me. I'm just saying, as we come in here to have the beautiful, beloved community happy talk, which what we need. What we need is the truth about this neighborhood. These people take care of this community. They want honesty in this community. And what they don't want is to be pimped again by anybody.
I doubt it. I will bring pimps. I'll bring solutions.
I'm not talking to you, I'm talking to this man.
But he's the one.
And that's fine. And because you're here, that means they're more credible. So I'm gonna take a little walk. We got a little meeting. I'll be back.
You're gonna come back? You sure?
I'll come back. I don't just I'll be about it.
All right.
Talk about it.
Gotcha.
And you can use whatever you want to use. My mama might like to see me on TV.
He definitely know what he talking
Yeah, he definitely know what he talking
about. There's no doubt about it.
I'm gonna give him both. He's angry passionately.
He's spitting facts.
Yeah, he's spitting facts.
Right? Because some people, like, the first thing that gentleman said, and I'm not knocking him, is that he started looking for color in the room. Why isn't the cameraman African American or black? Right? I understand that. And you know what's funny? I have a bunch of younger cousins who are in this industry. They're in this industry. And one of the things is my cousin, I had a conversation with him. I said, yo, you need to train me about audio and visual and things of that nature because I want to know about it. Right. The dude that's in front of the camera that's acting, that's not the money maker. It's the dude behind the camera. So I think that what we have to, and I say that to say, is we gotta be behind the scenes to get in front of the scene.
I wanna start because it's a couple people that gotta leave real quick. We welcome feedback. That's why we're here. To get the feedback. They are here to document the feedback. So I thank all of y'all for coming. I have asked Ross to come and give a brief presentation to you wonderful men that I know that will take this and spread it. Okay, so this is Ross McNutt. This is his show. Knock him out.
Thank you, Archie. I really appreciate you guys coming. We come to talk with you and to share with you a little bit about what we're doing. The Community Support Program is a service that we provide. It's built out of a system that we built. Actually, we used it in Iraq and Afghanistan to support the IEDs and the US troops there. The outputs of our investigations is a briefing that says what happened, who was there, where'd they come from, where'd they go to, and providing that information to law enforcement and also to public defenders and defense attorneys so that the truth can come out. We provide an unbiased witness to police activity within the area. What I want to do is show you what wide area motion imagery is. If you've ever seen Google Earth, what we do is a live version of Google Earth. So this is your shooter right here. And what we often do is look for changes in behavior on the ground that would indicate a major event has occurred.
So what are you proposing?
We're proposing to help use these technologies and these systems to help the community.
How does that help the community when it's constant surveillance of the community?
Let me show you how this works, and I'll answer that in just a
I
moment.
kind of understood how it works because there were instances. But I don't have a few minutes. I have a right to ask questions, so allow me to ask a question, ma'am, because I'm a member of this community, and some of us are foolishly allow folks to tell us what they're gonna do for us. So there were instances in Baltimore City when that same technology was used to pretty much without the consent of the mayor's office, of other folks, and they were being in operation for almost 3, 4, 5 months. And I believe that's the same operation.
Yes.
And that operation was paid by the private individual.
And I will tell you that we fought very hard, and we were told we weren't allowed to let people know. We've been asked by the community to come in and brief the community, and this will only go forward if the community believes that it's acceptable.
But if the information that is being provided to the community is not the full scope of the information, how can then the community give full consent, and how can the consent be deemed to be accurate when all the information is not really the whole objective of this of that
We are,
program.
we are here presenting that information.
That's always been the case. But when reality, we know that these type of information, the end result is never being what they said it would have been in the first place. We use crime as a bait because we know people are very emotional, especially when we say we're going to solve crime. But if the intention is to solve crime, why allow a private entity to have control of such huge type of devices when it involves citizens? And it's almost like the private entity is replacing the state and doing the work of the state. And that to me is unconstitutional. But I don't have much time, I have another meeting. But folks, please, be mindful of what you allow folks to come in your community to do. Consent is not always given freely.
Thank you for coming. Yes, sir.
Archie, do you want to address any of that?
I'll deal with that.
Okay.
But,
Can I address it?
Sure.
Can I address it? Okay, the reason why I said it's not that, it's consent. It is the fact that when we go to the store, we are under surveillance. When we walk in the bank, we are under surveillance. When you walk in the Baltimore City Public Schools, you are under surveillance. When you walk in the hospital, you are under surveillance. If you go down to the Inner Harbor area, trust me, you are under surveillance. Most of the crimes happen on the streets of Baltimore and broad daylight, during daytime hours, but the deterrents are in the hospitals and in the banks, and they still rob.
What are you arguing? If your premise is that I am under surveillance, then I must open myself to be much more under surveillance. I think that's a false premise because consent. This is the difference. I was born in Haiti, right? This is the difference between this country and other country in the world. This is why I love this country. Is the fact that one has to be consented, and that consent has to be understood why I'm giving my consent to. There's a lot, we have used a lot of excuses to deprive people of their privacy right and their individual right. We always come under the false pretense of crime. If we want to solve crime in Baltimore City, we can easily solve the crime. We could follow the routes of those individuals. We know most of the individuals that are operating on the street and they are doing the things that they're doing. But to tell me that in order for me to solve crime, I must give up all my rights so that crimes can be solved, that's a false premise. That's a false hope, and that's what you're asking these folks to do. Because we know, no, most of us don't even know where these cameras are located. That's not true.
Okay, listen, all right, listen, let's...
And first of all,
okay,
you have cameras in here that most people did not give us their consent to be filmed.
I understand.
You see, that's also another violation.
Right.
You cannot come, hold on, Pastor, you cannot come, come in a community. You cannot come in a community. You cannot come in a community and filming people. Listen. Because I don't know what's the use and the purpose of this going to be.
If I was, listen, the truth is...
What truth?
What
truth? What truth? The truth.
Yeah,
that's
okay. See,
that's a different. That's a different issue.
We're becoming combative.
It's not combative. It's not combative. No, it's not combative.
He let you speak. Why don't you let him speak?
It's not combative.
I've listened to you talk. I've listened to you talk. I'm trying to bring out a point.
That's what they want to
and
feel.
you're telling me that what I'm saying is complex. It's not complex. It's simple. How many murders are there in this town? How many murders are there in this town? So you don't want to answer that. If you answer how many murders there are in this city, then you ought to be willing. Then you ought to be willing to imply something that would curb it.
He's here.
No, he's not here.
He is here.
Where am I?
See, first of all, I pastor in this community.
For me to be here, so what are you doing?
I pastor here.
Okay, so what?
I'm trying to tell you now that the boys up there on that corner ain't a bit more interested in anything y'all have to say.
The aerial perspective looks down at the world. Objects and people are rendered as pixels, flattened into a two-dimensional plane. Through the flattening of space, a new dimension emerges. The vertical axis becomes a literal projection of power. The world is down there, the camera up here. The viewer is supposed to look down with the camera, not to look at the camera itself. Where seeing meets the seeing of the world, we are blind. It is in this blind spot that power sets its agenda. This eye does not see into the tall buildings downtown. The green trees of suburban areas block our view. This eye is made to look for crime in historically high crime areas, and so it will see crime in historically high crime areas. This eye sees, an arrest is made. The eye trains its sights again. Sometimes, the plane's body pokes in at the edge of the frame. Pixels disappear between the seams of the image. With them, bodies disappear too. We are reminded that someone, somewhere, is putting this world together. An act of seeing is always an act. An intervention into the world. We do not see the world. We see this intervention. The frame excludes a world beyond its edges. But if we look hard enough, there's always an edge that creeps back in.
Alright, so this is ready to go. I'm gonna. Red is recording, right?
Yep.
Alright. Do we wanna just and action.
This is the Axon Network. This is the Axon Flex 2 body camera. Axon Signal Sidearm Holster. Axon Fleet 2 with SPPM on the taser weapon. Axon Air. Axon Body 2 camera. When I draw this firearm out of the holster, it will activate all the cameras.
A man poses as a criminal on a Bertillon card. He is Francis Galton, first cousin to Charles Darwin, and a prominent English scientist. Using a series of barometric recordings, Galton compiled the first comprehensive weather map of Europe, showing how a series of interconnected data points could be used to predict the future behavior of complex systems. Galton turned his attention from the weather to the human subject. In 1879, Galton first presents his system of composite photography. Galton organizes a collection of images by type: criminal, tubercular patient, family likeness, scientist, Jew. The images are overlaid onto a single photographic plate, forming a composite exposure. Darker lines indicate regions that align closely to the average. Blur measures deviation from the average type. The composite, Galton believed, reflected a greater truth about the subject than their individual components. Galton writes, "All that is common remains. All that is individual tends to disappear." Like Murray's experiments, these images claim to automatically perform a mathematical function. Galton called his system pictorial statistics. But a crucial innovation is proposed. These images don't just represent a subject. They predict what a subject in the future may look like. They represent, Galton writes, not the criminal, but the man who is liable to fall into crime. As a scientist, Galton hoped to uncover the natural order of the world. But his methods actively concealed this unnatural process. For all the time that Galton spends describing his photographic inventions, he never describes how he decides what images to include. The criminal composite does not reflect the person who is liable to fall into crime, but merely what Galton thinks a criminal looks like. Galton would go on to apply this pseudoscientific reasoning to the new discipline of eugenics, a field which he is often considered the founder. No criminal was ever caught using composite portraiture. Though the images claim to show what a criminal may look like, they are impossible to use for identification. Not only are they blurry, but the people they depict don't actually exist. And yet, they have already been accused of a crime. From what history does the future dream?
So we're zooming in on license plates that are clear enough, and then drawing a tight bounding box around the license plate to show the AI where it begins. And then if it has legible letters in it, then we'd add that in the state, and then it just goes on from there.
An Axon body camera goes out into the world and records what it sees. The image is stored on Axon servers, where it gets used as evidence. Images, and the data they contain, are Axon's most valuable product. When a police department signs up with evidence.com, they have the option of allowing Axon to use their video to train their next generation of software products. If they opt in, departmental footage is sent back to Axon headquarters, where human analysts aid the machine in detecting recurring patterns within the footage. Recurring patterns may include faces, license plates, loud noises, or sudden movement. With enough videos, Axon software can begin to detect patterns on its own. Once a recurring pattern is learned, actions may be programmed based on that pattern. Sample actions include detecting faces, transcribing conversations, calling reinforcements, or looking up a license plate. The bureaucratic labor of the police officer is outsourced to Axon's automated system. These promotional videos, taken from Axon's website, dramatize a process that is typically invisible to the public. But these images conceal more than they reveal. The Axon network is a process that takes place within secure rooms, on private servers, enacted by code whose basic functions are kept secret by intellectual property contracts. It feels like watching a corporation dream out loud. A seamless world where every tool has met just the right situation for its intended use. History converges on the present. Weapon. Eye. Archive. Interpretation. Automation. From what history does the future dream?
In my opinion, data can be manipulated, it can be adjusted or whatever, but I'm
It won't work here.
they commit crime.
You gotta put your Let's get that understood. This is not the city, this is not Baltimore Police Department. Right. This is a whole private entity that wants to assist Baltimore. That's it. Just wanna help. They wanna come to assist. There's nobody else coming with no solutions. There's nobody else coming with no let's get together. There's nobody coming with a nothing. Even your city council don't have it. I know. We just left there yesterday. There's no solutions on the table. This is the solutions. Give it more jail time. So if you with that, sign up for it then.
Are you saying the community will be able to use this? We could look on the internet and...
Well, no, we still have lots of privacy policies, but if you have justice because the system works, I think the crime will come down significantly.
Like you said, that may deter a crime because the person who wants to commit the crime will figure out something somebody's watching me.
And that's it. That is the biggest objective.
That's it. That's all. That right there. See what you just said? That's it. That's all. This is all we asking for is to deter. Take 200 of you and go 200 of you and go out there and say, look. Cause I tell you, but the moment I got whiff of it, he'll tell you I was not only paranoid, but I actually said, you know what? We're not even ready to cross the street right now. You understand? Like these kids nowadays, only thing you gotta tell them, hey, God's eye up there.
You better watch, boy, be careful.
I beg to differ to a certain degree, and let me tell you why. And I was saying this, and she said it. I've sat with young people and I've talked to them. I've asked a group of kids that was in the room, 20 kids in the room, and I said, if you knew the consequences of the law, would you break it? 10 of them said yes. They knew that they can get 10 to 15 years to go to prison by selling drugs. They said yes. You know why? Because they're trying to survive. These kids don't care about no camera. They know they're being watched, and it's in their area. Those blue light cameras are in urban areas. It's not in Mount Washington. It's not in Federal Hill. They're in urban areas.
Yeah, I agree with that. But I also know that one of the major factors in deterrence is the likelihood of getting caught.
They don't care about that
Well,
though, sir.
but-
It's video cameras. Listen, yo, when the riots and all that stuff happened, listen, it don't gotta be him. If I know I'm being, see, there we go with the deterrent. If somebody's watching me, I don't gotta know who it is. I know it's somebody. So it should deter me, right? It didn't deter. We had 306 brothers going up. So it ain't cameras that's gonna deter anything. It's mentality that's gonna stop it.
But we have to begin to and change the mentality.
But not by being watched.
No. That's not just. I think what we're getting off track here is that what you're saying is right. What he's saying is right. But we're mixing apples and oranges here.
No, I'm gonna correct myself.
Okay.
It's systematic. The system has to change for people to see growth and progression.
May I say something?
Yes, sir.
Go ahead. Listen, this is step number one. And I'm asking you, like I've asked everybody. I said, if you want to sell this program, turn the camera around. The community is not at all interested in being surveilled. I'm here to tell you. You gotta understand, your perspective is different from mine. There are different perspectives here. We gotta see it from their standpoint. What are you looking at? How do you feel? Hey, if you do that, then you will make it palatable to the community.
We are trying our best. Thank you, Pastor. I really appreciate it. I think we probably ought to pull this together. And it was a little different environment this time, I might add. I don't know if some of that was the fact that there was cameras and other things. I don't know how that played in, to be honest with you. I appreciate your time. I would like to be in touch. I think we have a program that can help a lot. All right? Pastor, thank you very much. Thank you for hosting us. And we'll come back as many times as you'd like.
Okay, so I'm just going to go through a series of brief questions about the content that you just watched. You saw many images today. What specific images do you remember seeing? Were there any that stood out to you?
Yeah, I saw a bunch of images. The most interesting one were either helicopter or drone shots.
Good morning and thank you for coming. I'm here today to announce a pilot program for the aerial surveillance in Baltimore. We will be the first American city to use this technology in an attempt to solve and deter violent crime.
All right, guys, if there's nothing else, then what we're gonna do now is I'm gonna go get ITS. They're gonna come in with the camera equipment. We'll get it all issued out.
Every 392. Right, 171. Every 392.
So how did these images make you feel?
Well, I'm a filmmaker myself, so my eye on watching films is a little different from people. I watch everything in the background, so I'm always critical to those type of things.
I've decided to proceed with this proposed pilot program because it could represent yet another tool in the toolbox to solve and deter violent crimes in our city.
So we're rolling, I'm gonna come over, you're gonna show me how to hold it.
And you're gonna put them in pairing mode by holding the function button on the side of the camera, the little tiny button on the side of the camera. Hold that down. and hold down the record button at the same time.
Tell me a bit more about how it felt to be filmed in the setting.
Felt kind of, you know, but because you talked about like what we were going to be doing, and I was really paying attention to my heart rate and whether my palms were sweating, so it, like I was observing myself.
Make sure you paired with the right camera and point the camera at yourself. You should see yourself. If you see somebody else, you're messed up. Yeah.
Oh, I can see myself.
So I'm looking forward to hearing from our community and to educate them on what this is and what this is now. So at this time, I'll take a few questions.
Did these images feel connected in any way, or did you feel like there was a narrative being formed?
Say hello to the camera.
Hello to the camera.
Hi.
Alright, so let's do this. We're gonna we'll just do some one take.
You want to put it in now?
Standby mode. I double tapped it to get it to go. You hold it in,
you
right?
Hold the button in, and you'll hear it beep and vibrate.
That's what I did.
And then, and then your light, you're still recording.
Like that. Alright. And just like.
And just toss it up.
This is my first day getting my body-worn camera. I'm so excited. 6/22/2017 testing. This video is a training video. It is concluding.
You want to try it again? Or are you still on the...
Okay, yeah, we can try it again.
Oh.
Did you get any shots in? Yeah, I was just mostly making sure the camera was calibrated for you.
The camera. It's a FF5. So this is your personal one? Yep.
Yeah.
So right now,
getting behind the scenes.
So.
Okay, we just
So
setting
right
him
now,
up with his little recording. Check. All right.
Okay, so that's good. But anyway, what in episode 1 happened during the episode that's going to make people want to watch it? That's what we need to focus on. So if there's nothing in there that actually draws the attention of the audience we looking for, then we need to add or fix something. You can't. That's what I'm saying. You can't just put a flashback out of nowhere and then it's just like.
But he looked like somebody he knows.
This is what I'm saying. That's what's going to get people thinking like, hold no, up, this why is they what I'm just put saying. that flashback there?
Exactly, but in order to have that flashback, something has to happen.
Something had, you see what I'm saying? Like, we can't just look. So me and you can't just be talking. Me and you can't just be talking. Then I know it a flashback. They can put 2 and 2 together like that. This is what I'm saying. In a flashback, let's say
who's having a flashback?
I mean, a dustpan or something like.
Y'all just keep walking in the middle. Every time I try to get it.
Everybody just pull in and start doing something. You don't know what to do? Follow somebody that's doing something.
What are the chairs we putting at the table?
Right here behind you.
Get them, bring them.
And all hands on deck. Okay? Time is of the essence. Time is money. Go, go, go. Let's go.
Then I use the little thing.
Oh my God.
Hey,
I'm amazing with this.
Subways in that joint. Like we went to Subway, put the joint in our backpack, came in there with hella drinks and subs. Straight was good. It was cool.
I want to go see it again.
I'm talking about. It don't take much to make me happy, folks. But everybody try, you know? It doesn't take that much to make me happy. Those little things, those moments when you guys are coming together, that's what I'm talking about.
Love it.
We got a few minutes.
Y'all ready? Yeah, ready. All right. Places.
Y'all places.
Can I get quiet on the set?
Go back to the script.
Quiet on the set? Okay. So, okay, quiet on the set. All right, look. If you're behind the scenes, I need you out of the shot, which is back there by Ms. Young. And if you are actors, I need you in your places.
We got a few minutes. Try to get it on the first one.
Quiet on the set. All right. So, cafe, take 1, same 5.